It's one of the most exciting F1 Drivers' Championships, and it continues to deliver. With 2 races to go, just 8 points separate Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton at the top of the standings. Let's join Johnny Herbert now for his thoughts on that Qatar Grand Prix. Great to see you, Johnny. Good morning to you. It's another win for Lewis Hamilton. How will he be feeling with these 2 races to go and that gap being so small?
Pretty pumped up. He's done brilliantly in the last 2 Grand Prix. I don't think it was expected in many respects, because when we were in Austin, we thought that was going to be Lewis's track. It wasn't. Max won there. Mexico, we thought that was going to be an easy one for Max, but of course the Mercedes did very well in qualifying, and then Max dominated it into the race. But of course, then we went to Brazil, and what a cracker we saw there. And Qatar, Lewis did it once again. And we've always got to remember with Lewis, 2016, that title battle we had with his teammate Nico Rosberg, he'd won the last 4 races. So can he do that again?
Well, Johnny, Verstappen had to start in 7th, made light work of getting back to 2nd. Was that always going to be as good as it was going to get for him, do you think?
I think so, yes. And I only say that, I think, because throughout the weekend, that Mercedes, and especially Lewis, looked very, very strong. And when I'm talking about looking very strong, I think it was the ability to sort of get right to the edge of the track. There was a lot of damage done on a couple of cars with the little green-white curb that was on the circuit, but he never, ever got anywhere near that. So his consistency was looking very good from Lewis's point of view. But of course, with Max, you never know what he's going to be able to do. So when he eventually got into 2nd place, it was sort of nip and tuck at the beginning of the race, I would say. Then it was Lewis again who started to stretch away. And then the focus, I think, for Max was trying to get that 1 point for the fastest lap, which he was able to do. But again, Lewis did seem to have everything under control. When he needed to push, he was able to just have that little something extra in his back pocket. But both of these guys are absolutely fantastic. They're great for Formula One. It's exciting even for me to watch these. I think this is 2 of the very, very best that we've ever seen battling it out.
This could get even better, couldn't it? I mean, you've kind of touched on it, but one of the permutations is if Hamilton wins with a bonus point for the fastest lap in Saudi Arabia and Verstappen is 2nd, they'll go to Abu Dhabi absolutely level and tied. Now, for everyone other than the 2 drivers and their teams, that is the dream, isn't it?
Yeah. And I reckon there's a good chance that dream might come our way, because it's a new track, Saudi Arabia. It's a very, very fast track, a lot of long straights. And I think that might favour Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton, especially on the performance that he's putting in at the moment. Now, if that happens, like you said, and he gets that fastest lap, it is going to be incredible, going into that last race in Abu Dhabi. But I think the key factor as well is going to be the teammate. And I think Sergio Perez has actually done a very good job this year with Max Verstappen. And of course, that 1 point, that fastest lap, there is always a weapon that they can use, Red Bull, if Max isn't able to do it, which is actually getting Sergio to do that. And we haven't quite seen the same situation consistently, sadly, with Valtteri, who had a pretty poor race in Qatar. But at the end of the day, Saudi is going to be absolutely fascinating once again on a track I think, as I said, will favour the Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. But you never know, and can't rule out anything that Max is able to do on the racetrack, because he's still a young boy. But my, is he a good one? And he's only going to get stronger and stronger.
Yeah, we can't wait either. Both drivers, Johnny, straight back at it today. What will their schedules look like?
Well, again, a lot of it will be just sort of preparing yourself. There'll be a lot of work, obviously, with the engineer. There will be a lot of work back at the factory on the simulator. So there'll be a simulator driver who will be sort of pulling in hours and hours and laps at the circuit to try and get the best setup when they start on Friday. But Lewis will be really engaging with that engineer and very, very possibly with that simulator driver to try and understand exactly what that track is going to deliver, understand what he needs to do on that racetrack when he gets there. But we're talking about, one of the best, if not sort of the best F1 driver that we've ever seen. And his ability to adapt to these new situations, just like Max, to be perfectly honest, just like Max. is going to be fascinating to see, because sometimes I think sometimes you've got to read what the car is doing at the beginning of a race weekend. Is Mercedes sort of always are a little bit it looks like on the back foot when we're on a Friday. Then they just sort of ease up, turn up the power, and then they're always there when it comes down to qualifying. If they're sort of around that sort of top 4, top 5, I think, on that Friday, that will be a massive sign to show that they have got real intention and they have a car that can actually deliver on the racetrack as well. But it's not going to be easy. But is he up for it? Yes, he is. Is Max up for it? Yes, he is. Am I up for it to watch? Yeah, right, I am.
So are we. But I tell you who else was up for it, Christian Horner and Toto Wolff. Horner's actually been warned by the FIA for some of his comments. Is that at all a distraction for the drivers, or does it pump them up even more?
I don't think it's a distraction. I don't think it pumps them up anymore, because I think they're pumped up enough. I think they just try and erase all that sort of little chitter-chat, sort of playground schoolboy sort of chat that they're having, and just sort of focus on the job at hand, which is driving the car. Yeah, it's part of what Formula One has always been about. It's a bit different nowadays from, let's say, when I was racing, because the radio communication is so clear nowadays, and it's all that little sort of chats and sort of, I don't know, let's say they're cheating. That was a Christian Horner's alluding that they're cheating, as in Mercedes, and then Toto would come on and say, oh, no, absolutely not. It's just silly sort of banter that Christian's trying to wind me up and everything else. So it's part of it. I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it really, but it just adds to the whole show at the end of the day. And I think it's something that, the main thing, it's what happens on the racetrack. I know that's something Toto's always said. We want to see these drivers go head to head, and that's exactly what we're getting at the moment. Do I expect it to calm down when we get to Saudi Arabia? No, I don't think so.
Johnny, while we've got you, a word on Fernando Alonso, the Alpine driver on the podium for the first time since August 2014. What did you make of his drive?
Brilliant. A classic Fernando race, very, very clever in how he was able to sort of get the best from the tyres, which was very, very difficult for a lot of drivers. The circuit was very, very hard on them. But that's the experience that Fernando's got. But that's also the race skill that Fernando has still got today. And I think it was just brilliant to see that. And I must say that I think this is probably the best Fernando we've actually seen since the last time we saw him, when he was sort of having those horrible times at McLaren. And it's really, really nice, and Ferrari, of course, but it's really nice to see that it's a very calm Fernando. And with that calmness, he's coming some great performances, and a great performance he did at the weekend.
Yeah, great performance from you today, Johnny, as well. Thanks ever so much for speaking to us.
No problem, thanks.